Welcome to this special European Power Report. My name's David Linton and it's the 29th of October today, and I had a client this morning who wanted to talk through some of the Eastern European power markets, and I thought I'd share with you some of the analysis we did. And before I look at some of these power markets, I always like to start with the macro. So this is my main screen, this data coming from Thomson Reuters Icon. So we did just look at some of the things that are going on and affecting the market at the moment, namely things like the VIX volatility back above 40, looking at the markets and how they're falling away heavily in equities and what that means for sentiment, and some of the other things. And of course, then we progressed to the energy mix. Brent crude down a further 5% this morning. We've been bearish on Brent crude. This week, Monday morning, we said this was the week that Brent would fall, and just looking at things like how far would the oil price fall to, and just looking at the Fibonacci retracements and saying, okay, that gives us key levels around 31 or 28, if 28.50 if we go to the 61% level. We've got these targets of 30 and 35. We've been looking at oil prices. A new downside target just arrived in just now to 36.25. So crude oil prices deteriorating very, very rapidly as we expected. And then we look at other things in the energy mix. Emissions actually bucking the trend this morning, but having gone lower. This being my daily and my 60-minute chart, and then I've got the 1-minute chart for the very short-term targets. And then we look at power prices, some of the gas prices, etc., and some of the European power prices. Part of the problem, of course, with the is about the data. So we then looked to European data, and I'm using here data from Saxo Bank. I'm running on lots of different data sources. You could be running on Montel, Trayport, wherever you want to get the data from. That's the key with Updata. But here I've got Saxo's power. This is based on PSM's power prices. So this is like derived OTC prices, if you like. So here I've got my weekly, my daily, and my 60-minute chart. So here we see we're hitting resistance on the weekly on the cloud. Not many people look at weekly charts. We see on the daily that we failed to get to that high. That's a failure, and then the lower low, so that's very bad. And then prices were falling below the cloud around this mid-October level when we turned very bearish on power. And we saw here we're just breaking through these key levels all the time. Downside targets for German power, 34 looks to be the number, back towards that low that we saw at 33. We got one at 36, and on the 1-minute chart, and this chart I'm changing all the time. So here I'll be looking at, and if you've got Trayport data, this is even better. So I'm looking at the targets 36.33, 36.50, 36.88, and just you change this chart on your Trayport data. This will be really cool. But here I'm using the data from Saxo, so it's the next best thing I've got. Now, of course, if you get to then Eastern European markets, most people will be just tracking German power and making their decisions from that. But one of the things that's really powerful is to use data from OTC. So this data is coming from OTC Global Holdings. They have the EOX live data, and their brokerages produce these prices, and basically it's from the curves. So these curves are produced every day, and because they're produced every day, I've just clicked on one of those nodes, and that is the daily curve assessments going back historically. So that kind of gives us a price chart. And so here what I've done is I've set up my screen with all the European power markets that are really hard to get pricing on, and I've got a daily chart here. Because it's a daily pricing, of course, I've got a daily chart here. I've got my cloud chart. I've got a chart just showing the spread between that and the German power price coming from Thomson Reuters, and the correlation chart. You can see how closely these prices are following, plus a point and figure chart, which is a half box size and a 0.25 box size. And these levels that I've got on here, the key levels, really cool. This function allows me just to put those straight into my quote screen, and I can take those out to a spreadsheet. So I've got bullish and bearish levels for European power markets. So I can go to something like some of the less liquid markets and look at those markets. So I could look at Hungary, for example, and I can see here the key levels on the Hungarian market. Targets for Hungarian power, 42 here, 42. That looks like a key level. Romania, I can go to Romania and I can see 40.5, 40. Can see that we're breaking that low there on the key levels. I can look back to this 43.98. Now, I accept this is all synthetic data and you're going to want to track the German power price where the liquidity is, but it just does help you arrive at some numbers. And if you're using Updata, I really recommend you take a trial of the EOX live data because it will give you an extra dimension on some of these markets. So there's Bulgaria, here we go for Poland, Slovenia, markets that you wouldn't normally necessarily get to see easily. Slovakian power here, and even Serbian power. So really great for being able to go through these markets and look at the power prices. Greek power, for example. So why don't you give the EOX live data a try in Updata and have a go at analysing the power markets this way. But of course, you'd always come back to your markets and look at the live German power pricing wherever you're getting the data from, be it Montel, Trayport, Saxo Bank, multiple data sources, or Refinitiv Icon, if that's a place that you want to rely on your data. The beauty is we can mix and match all this data to arrive at these charts. And in fact, this chart here, interestingly, this correlation chart is a correlation between the EOX live data and the Refinitiv Icon data. So I can get a correlation between Romanian power, synthetic price, to the German power market price. So really fascinating. Why not give it a try and have a play?